This video will be a demonstration of the Module 18 NoSQL Database Challenge. To start our server, we can go ahead and run npm start. This will start our server as well as connecting us to the NoSQL MongoDB database. Then, by starting this database, we can go ahead and go to Insomnia to test all of our requests and ensure that all the things are working. So, first thing we can do is go ahead and create a user. This user is just going to be named new user, and he's going to have an email of newuseruser@gmail.com. Sending the request, we receive back that information and going to get all users. We can see this previous user that we had as well as this new user that we created with his ID. So going down, we can copy this ID and go to get user by ID, showing that we could retrieve just this user and the information about said user. So going to update user, we can as well change this user's information to update a new username and update it at gmail.com for the email field. And going back to get all users, we can see that these fields have been updated for this said user. So what if we want to give users friends? We can go ahead and check this friend user and make him a friend of the updated new username. Going to add friend, we can go ahead and paste this first ID in the first field. And going back here, we can paste the second ID in the second field to add these users as friends. There we go. So going back to get all users, we can see that this user is now a friend of this user. But what if they had a disagreement and decided that the friendship was no longer something they wanted? We can go ahead and send that same request to the same API address, but with a delete request this time. And going back, we can see and get all users that these users are no longer friends. And let's say we wanted to get rid of this updated new user. We can then go ahead and send a request to delete user with its ID, and receiving back, we will receive that user, and going to get all users, we can see that that user has now been removed. But what if we wanted to give this user some thoughts? We can go ahead and create a thought. Going to the create thought, going to make a thought, we can go ahead and paste this user ID in here, and this is a brand new thought, and the username doesn't really matter. So going ahead and sending that, we can go to get all thoughts, and sending that request, we can see that we have this brand new thought by this username created here and now. So let's say we wanted to go ahead and actually update this thought. We can send a request to the update thought field with this has been updated by updated user, and we can go ahead and grab the user that that thought belongs to, which is going to be, so this is going to be our thought ID, which we can paste up here. And going back to get all thoughts, we can grab this ID, which belongs to the user. So going back to update thought, we can go ahead and paste the user ID here. So going ahead and sending, we can go back to get all thoughts, send the request again, and we can see that this thought has in fact been updated. Next, let's say we want to actually get this thought by its ID to make sure that we're actually grabbing the right thought. So we can go ahead and grab its ID field and individually retrieve the information about this thought. Just as well as going ahead and retrieving the individual information, we can go ahead and delete this thought. So going back to get all thoughts, we can go back in and see that this thought has in fact been deleted. And this demonstrates all the necessary functionality except the reactions, which at this point in time are not functional, but will be updated and resubmitted for a reevaluation of the grade. Thank you for taking the time to go through this video.